Good morning. I'd like to welcome everyone to our Fall 2013 commencement. My name is David Fitzgerald, Campus Vice President of the Phoenix campus. The national anthem will now be sung by Yvette Gonzalez Sereno. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please stand for the playing of the national anthem? Graduates and faculty, please remain standing.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Thank you.
Thank you, Yvette. Congratulations to all the graduates today. We look forward to see the impact you make on the world and the difference that you make in lives every day. I would now like to introduce to you Lynn Bagnall, Senior Director of Student Services, who was in our student speaker. I'd also like to introduce Joel Mayer, Associate Director of Academic Affairs, who will present the Distinguished Teaching Awards. Lynn?
Welcome, students, faculty, and guests. Oh, I'm sorry, did I say students? I should have said graduates. How does that sound? That sounds a lot better, doesn't it? I am so honored to introduce the Phoenix campus student speaker for today's 2013 Fall Commencement Ceremony. After careful consideration and several interviews, our committee selected Sid Dutta to speak on behalf of his fellow graduates. I think you will agree his topic, the value of education, is relevant for all of us. Sid's path to personal and professional growth was through the MBA program at University of Phoenix. And like many of you, he earned his degree while working full-time. Sid is employed with American Express Technologies as a Director of Technical Architecture and has 12 years of industry experience. A few of his key accomplishments include American Express Technologies Excellence Winner, Six Sigma Green Belt. He's a certified software quality analyst. He has 2 U.S. patents for a globally portable voice response application and a right party verification process. Most importantly, he is a dedicated father and husband. In his spare time, Sid enjoys spending time with his wife and son, and he's an avid cricket player, which has helped him maintain a work-life balance. He's a very, very talented young man. You'll be very impressed with him. Please welcome Sid Dutta.
Thank you, Lynn. Good morning, University of Phoenix graduates, faculty, and guests. My name is Dutta, and I have the honor and privilege today to stand in front of you to have the opportunity to not only congratulate my fellow graduates for attaining such a huge accomplishment in their life, but also to share my experience and thoughts on the value of education. Now, instead of really delivering a proper MBA speech and really ruining the day for you, just thought of keeping it simple and share my own story. I grew up in a very small town in India, in the state of West Bengal, by the river Ganges. The town is called Konnagar. My mom has been a housewife. My dad used to work as a senior technician in a company ICI, known for its paints, in a factory next town. He toiled for almost 60 hours a week, earning just enough to provide for the family and also for my education. They made a lot of sacrifices to ensure that I get the proper education and grow up to be, first of all, be a good human being, and then a successful professional who could actually lead a better life than they were able to afford to. They never ceased to put this into my head all the time during my childhood and adolescence, that knowledge and education are the most powerful resources for the non-affluent. Growing up in India, as you know, 1.2 billion population, being educated or getting the proper education was not a choice that I could make. It was a mandate, it was a necessity, it was a prerequisite for survival and success. And it was just not for me, for every other kid in India. It was true for me then, and I think we all would agree, now education is true for everyone globally. They made sure that I go to the only school in that whole area that taught in English. Just to give you context, that the state I belonged, the primary or the official language was Bengali. In India, as you know, the national language is Hindi. English was still not then something that people used to teach in school. That school was the only one that did and had a different and at least a little bit advanced curriculum. It was very expensive for them, but they made sure I attend that school because they had the foresight that probably that would help me compete at a global landscape. They also made sure I attend engineering, get my degree. It was not something that they could afford at the time, but it was something that was not an option. Now, when I look back at my journey, being raised in a middle-class family from a small town in India, going through all my education, and being here in the United States for the last 10 years, employed with one of the most respected global brand, American Express, and more importantly, standing in front of you in this great, grand occasion, I think it's the education and the constant support of my parents, and later my wife, that probably has got me through all the challenges and hurdles. And the journey goes on, it doesn't end here. It took me 10 years to get back to school. After my undergrad in engineering, it took me 10 years, but the decision paid off pretty fast. I was promoted to a director position in my company while I was halfway through my MBA program. Before we got married, my wife, she already had her MBA, and she used to brag about that, how she was more qualified and educated than me. I think she can't play that card anymore. Beyond the employment, entrepreneurial, social, democratic, health, and all the other benefits of education, just wanted to also highlight that education is also a key to unlocking a country's potential for economic growth. Probably this is here, but for a very, very brief period, I'm going to put my MBA hat on. On a recent report by UNESCO and World Bank, dated August of this year, they state that 1 extra year of schooling increases an individual's earnings by 10%. It's actually very staggering, considering that on an average, people employed every year, they get a raise anywhere between 1% to 3%, if that, in a struggling economy. Also, each additional year of schooling raised average GDP growth by 0.37%. Those numbers are actually very, very inspiring. Now, I want to conclude by congratulating again all my fellow graduates for taking this step forward towards accomplishing their dreams. You should be proud of yourselves, and like mine, your family should be very, very proud of you. Congratulations again. I also want to encourage you to inspire all those people you know, friends and families, who are considering further education, who are considering going back to school, and even the ones who are on the fence, still in doubt, to take this step forward for them, their families, and for their future. It's never too late to pursue your dreams, and you're never too busy for education. Once you decide to go through with it, I think you learn to manage time. Thank you, University of Phoenix, for offering me the opportunity to speak today, and more importantly, helping me accomplish my dreams and goals. I also want to thank my wife for her sacrifices, for those many, many hours over the last couple of years that I couldn't devote enough time to her and our son, Sahil, who's 6 now. Couldn't have done it without her. So thank you, Priyanka. I love you. Last but not the least, I want to thank my parents for everything they've done for me, who are right now in India and probably not watching this webcast because I didn't let them know that I was speaking today. Again, my name is Sid Dutta. I'm a director in American Express, and I'm a Phoenix. Thank you all for listening. God bless.
The temptation, Dr. Pepicello, was there to actually just ad-lib an introduction for you. But we are pleased to have speaking to you today the outgoing president, Dr. Pepicello, will be retiring, and this very well may be his last graduation. So it is an honor to introduce a man that really needs no introduction, Dr. Bill Pepicello, president of the University of Phoenix.
Thank you, David. On behalf of the Central Administration of the University, I would like to offer our congratulations to today's graduates, to your family, friends, to our esteemed faculty who are there, and all of those who helped us get to this day today. What I'd like to do is take just a brief moment to provide perhaps some perspective on what this day means. Because here you are at commencement, which means the beginning, and yet you're at the end of your degree programs. And as I prepare to retire, I think about that too. I'm bringing one part of my life to an end, and another will soon begin. And that's what I would like you to think about today. Perspective means looking at something in just a little different way. Those of you who have children have actually experienced this. You may remember when they are 2 and 3 and 4 years old and 5, you are the strongest, smartest, bestest person in the world. And then somehow, as they enter their teens, with every passing year, you become dumber and dumber. Until They simply can't understand how you ever survived to the age that you got in the first place. I see the heads nodding. Some of you have lived through this. Well, if you're living it now, let me tell you there's hope. As they get older yet, and as they leave home, and we hope they will leave home, you'll discover that as they experience the world, you'll begin to get smarter and smarter and smarter again. So hang in there. And you have to be smart enough to make sure that they don't come back home. For those of you who aren't from Arizona, you may want to know that that's why we don't have basements here in Arizona. I'm just saying. But the perspective I want to give you today is what you have now become part of. There are some 1,500 of you sitting out here who will graduate today. And that's a big number. But you become part today of more than 800,000 University of Phoenix graduates around the world. And with that comes not just the jubilation and celebration of today, but a great responsibility as you leave here today. Now, what's the perspective on that? Very simply this. People often ask me, as the president of the university, what do I do to ensure the value of a University of Phoenix degree? And I will tell you what I tell them. That's not my job. That is your job. With the help of our faculty and our staff who have been dedicated to each and every one of you through every day of your education, we have armed you to go out and to make your business places, your communities, and the world a better place. That is the legacy that you carry with you today as you leave as a University of Phoenix graduate. And I can tell you, while it has been my pleasure to be the face of the university as the president for 7 years, I am never more proud than when I have the opportunity to point to the successes that you every day bring to this country as representatives of the University of Phoenix. So as you leave today, I hope you'll take that perspective with you. I hope you'll have a wonderful day, celebrate your accomplishments, and once again, congratulations to all of you.